You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hi there, Young and the Restless fans. I've got your 2-week spoilers for January 27th through February 7th. Look as Adam is rocked, Nate gets shocked, and Billy gets mocked. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt. If you're not subscribed, please click that button. Now let's talk about all the action coming these 2 weeks, beginning on Monday, January 27th. Sharon tells Nick she needs to pay for framing Daniel, but Nick thinks Sharon has paid enough by all the trauma she's undergone, but she still insists to Nick that she must make amends to Heather's family. Meanwhile, Nick admits the thought of Sharon never coming home terrified him, and Sharon and Nick share a moment. Sharon says goodbye to hallucination Camryn, who's pretty sweet on his way out. Meanwhile, Victor rants at Claire, Victoria, and Nikki for their sloppy plot to kill Jordan. He's having to do damage control with the GCPD, but Victor is also worried that they won't accept that it was a suicide because it wasn't. Claire takes full blame or credit, depending on how you see it, for the plan to kill Jordan, but her mom and grandma stand by her. And Victor tells Chance that Jordan broke into Victoria's house to kill Claire and her mom. And then Claire tells Chance that Jordan poisoned herself rather than face going back to prison. Meanwhile, Nick tells Chance that Mariah found Sharon in the park, drugged on PCP again. And Victor informs Chance that Jordan confessed to killing Heather and working with Ian just as she was dying. Victor also tells Chance that they need to lure out Ian and end this once and for all, but the cop doesn't like it. Of course he doesn't. He's just not a good detective. Nick says Ian is targeting Mariah and her family, just as Mariah is with Sharon, saying her wife Tessa and her daughter Aria are missing. Amy is exhausted from the LA trip, and Nate and Audra are worried about how much time she has left. And Nate thrills Amy when he says that her son Damian King is coming to Genoa City very soon and is actually a huge success and not a drifter like she thought. Meanwhile, Amy worries that Damian will be mad for all the lies, as Nate tells her, that's okay, we're all going to come clean on everything ASAP. On Tuesday, January 28th, Michael accepts a dangerous assignment from Victor, and he winds up in a very tense situation with Ian, something involving a single red rose. How weird is that? We'll see. Meanwhile, Victor gets Ian Ward right where he wants him. He is grilling him with questions about what all he's done, and the mustache thinks he has bested Ian. Meanwhile, Billy is completely impressed with Sally. She continues to charm him. Looks like he is really turning a corner and moving on with his life. And with Billy dropping the vendetta, these two might get a happily ever after unless somebody interferes. I wonder who would do that. Wednesday, January 29th, Ian is able to flip the script on the Newmans after Victor vows to stop him no matter what he has to do. This would not be the first time Victor has threatened Ian with death. One of the times he was back in town, Victor had him brutally beaten. So I do think he knows that what the mustache says that he is perfectly capable of following through on. However, Ian gets out of Victor's grip and he is able to take Michael, Victor, and Nick hostage at gunpoint. Meanwhile, Nikki is also at the ranch, but she's upstairs while Ian gets the drop on the guys, and he wants her to come down and watch what he's about to do to her loved ones. Watch as he destroys her family. Thursday, January 30th, the Newmans are reeling from the shocking turn of events with Ian, and it looks like it might really be over, which is bizarre because that's the same day that February sweeps start. So it sure looks like we get resolution as we're heading into sweeps, which is really strange. I personally hope Nikki is the one that takes him down. Mariah is totally rocked by something on Thursday, and I wonder if she's going to get Tessa and Aria back safe and sound or gets bad news about them. Chance finally gets the fact of the murder case. He knows that it was Jordan on tape kidnapping Sharon. And according to Victor, Jordan confessed that Ian killed Heather. And Ian may say otherwise during his whole showdown with the Newmans. He may say a lot thinking he's about to kill them. You know, one of those villain monologues. Friday, January 31st, Daniel gets a long overdue update about who murdered his beloved Heather and why. And I wonder if it's going to be Chance that tells him, or will it be Sharon with Nick at her side? Because Sharon already told Nick that she wants to tell Daniel what's happening, but he told her to, rest up, get the PCP out of your system, and then we'll go see him. Meanwhile, Adam is pretty shocked by Chelsea on Friday when she takes a big risk, and I wonder if sparks are flying already. And Kyle wants Claire to tell him everything that happened with Jordan, but will she come completely clean to her boyfriend? The first full week of sweeps kicks off February 3rd through 7th, with Jordan and Ian vanquished so early in sweeps. What does that leave us to look forward to? Because that was the whole big front burner that's been going on for months. Well, one thing I've noticed across the board, but very much so with Y&R, is that the soaps are all ramping up and changing who's on the front burner to try and proactively compete with the new soap that's starting in less than a month, Beyond the Gates. They want to keep their viewers. People only have so much time in a day to watch soaps. So we're going to be seeing in sweeps pulled onto the front burner Nate Hastings, his new brother Damian King, his dying mother Amy Lewis, Nate's gal pal Audra Charles, along with Devon and Lily. You can definitely see Y&R making the effort to try and keep their viewership intact with a new soap coming on the air. Nate may be rocked by the bombs that drop from his baby brother Damian, but he's got a few to drop himself, such as Nate needs to explain that they are brothers and he came to him on false pretenses. And unless he's done some serious homework, Damian is in the dark about all this, also about his mom, Amy, dying. And I'm also wondering, now that Sharon's out of the sewer, if head writer Josh Griffith dropped the ball. When talking about January and February storylines in his Y&R 2025 preview, the showrunner said about the Ian Jordan storyline that Phyllis and Sharon would be in a life or death situation. Did they scrap it, or does Ian run off and comes back to make more trouble? I mean, it just feels like some of these spoilers were sloppy. And Victor is going to soon refocus his efforts on destroying Jabot. If you remember from where that storyline dropped off several weeks ago, he's got an inside person there that he can use. And Jordan's comeback, even though it's supposedly over and she's dead, will cause issues for Kyle and Claire. And I'm certain Summer will try and leverage this as she starts pursuing Kyle again. With Billy moving past his vendetta and getting closer to Sally, big questions about that promised love triangle with Phyllis. There's really nothing going on for Michelle Stafford's character. She's going to be mad that Sharon was vindicated on the Heather issue, but then what? I expect Phyllis to come around mocking Billy and Sally's relationship and stirring the pot there. And one thing I am excited to see is Adam and Chelsea under one roof. The last time they shared space, she was paralyzed, but still managed to frame him for attempted murder. So keep an eye on that. And Daniel finally has closure on Heather's death, although he's going to hate the way it came out. And of course, he'll get closure on Sharon's involvement framing him, but the fact that she didn't hurt Heather mitigates things. Lucy is struggling, and we're going to see Daniel try and deal with all of his emotions. With the murder mystery solved, he can really indulge his grief and kind of work through all of this, and that's what we're promised to see.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.